Hey guys, today I'm going to talk through the Smashbox Shape Matters palette as per the video description. I've been meaning to do this video since a few months after I bought it, but surprisingly the time has just flown by, and before you know it, it's been like over a year since I bought it. I was just thinking before, like, when did I actually buy this? And I was thinking, oh yeah, it must have been late last year, but then I realized it was actually the year before that. So I've actually had this palette already for a year and a half, but I swear to you, it feels like only 3 to 4 months. I don't know where the time has gone in the last few years. So I actually did a review of this on my blog back when I first got it, back when it was fresh out of the box and still looking all fabulous and beautiful. So if you want to see some really close-up nice pictures of it, you can go to that blog post by clicking on the link below in the description box. That was more like my first impressions and why I bought it and some nice pictures, that kind of thing. So if you are interested in buying it, then certainly have a look at that. But today I actually wanted to do a review now that I've used it for quite some time. Firstly, apologies for all the fingerprints you can see on it, although I'm not ashamed because really that just shows how well loved and well used it is. I reach for this most days, if not every day, for one reason or another, because it has so many things in it. You know, some days I'll use this completely for my looks and other days I'll just use one or two things from it. But it's a fantastic all-rounder to have in your kit. In Australia, this retails for around $80 from Mecca. I'm not sure what it's like in the US, but certainly one of the more expensive palettes. But as I go through it, you'll see why. Definitely worth the money. So I'll just open it up for you. So, woo! Oh, you can see my messy makeup table there. Don't judge me. Firstly, you'll note this mirror. It's massive and it's actually really good quality. A lot of the mirrors that come in palettes are very like thin, cheap things, but this thing is really sturdy. In fact, the whole packaging is extremely sturdy packaging. Like, this is made of like a really dense plastic, and it is quite heavy. Half of that being the mirror, I think. So it's certainly not going to fold over and break anytime soon. So if you haven't actually seen this palette before, I'll take you through what it is. It's essentially 3 different palettes put into one. So down this side, you've got like an eyebrow palette. There's like this clear wax type shade. And then these 2 brow powders. In the middle here you have like your face palette, so you've got a contour shade, or 2 contour shades really, but I use this one more as a bronzer because it's quite warm. And then down here we've got 2 highlighting shades, so this one here is a matte highlight, so kind of like a general face highlighting product, where kind of like a banana powder. And this one here is an actual highlight, so something you'd only use on your cheekbones and nose, that kind of thing. And then over on this side you can see there's like an eyeshadow palette which has 9 different eyeshadows, and then it comes with this Smashbox brush down the bottom as well. So as you can see, it's essentially 3 palettes in one, so the fact that this is $80 is actually a very good deal considering their Smashbox's, that's a hard word to say, contour palette. It has definitely these 2 shades and another one. It's got 3, and that alone is $60. So the fact that this whole thing cost you $80, like, that's incredible value for money. So definitely worth the spend, even though it may seem like a lot. In terms of the quality, these are incredible. I had never used Smashbox products before this one. So, you know, I wasn't sure what the quality was like, and you don't really hear much about it here in Australia, so... But I can tell you that the quality is fantastic. These eyeshadows are incredible. Like, when I go back to using other ones and then come back to this, I realise just how good it is. I'm surprised I don't have more eyeshadow palettes. They're just wonderful. This contour shade is everything. It's the perfect tone and it blends so easily, and it's nearly impossible to get a really crappy contour because it's just so nice and it blends so well. And these brow products I used every day for months on end. For me, they're the perfect shades and just really easy to work with and blend out. Speaking of shades, obviously this wouldn't work so well for darker skin tones. I know that was a complaint when this first came out, that they only came out with this and not like one for light skin tones and one for dark, because obviously like, I think these contour shades would be too muddy and white on darker skin tones, and obviously these These may work for some people with like brown hair, but with black, these would probably be way too light. They work perfectly for me with someone like blondish eyebrows. But yeah, if you've got dark hair and dark skin, unfortunately this probably doesn't work for you, so that's a bit of a shame. That's my only con about this palette, is that it only comes in this shade range, which would be for light to medium skin tones, which I've said before, unfortunately is the case oftentimes. I'm hoping that's something that they'll change in the future so that the light to medium isn't just the norm. I think that's a bit unfair. So I'll just talk a little bit more about these eyeshadows. So I don't know if you can quite see it there. But you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 matte shadows and 3 shimmers, although the shimmers are quite different. So like over on this side, this gold shade and this like bronzy shade, they're quite shimmery. They're kind of like a foiled eyeshadow. They look really nice and metallic on your eye. But this pink one in the middle, it's a glittery pink one, it actually doesn't have that much shimmer to it at all. When you first see it, you think, oh my gosh, pink glitter, that cannot look good. But when you apply it, it's actually very subtle. It's more like a pink shadow with like the slightest bit of reflect to it. So it's actually really flattering, which I was totally surprised about when I first tried it. So it's more like 6 mattes, 2 foileds and 1 semi-shimmer. I don't know if there's a word for that. Maybe satin. But yeah, really nice shades. As you can see, this white one is nearly completely gone. You can see half the pan there. That's because I use that shade every single day. It's just the perfect base eyeshadow because it's not too white and it's not too yellow. I find it really hard to find just a normal light beige eyeshadow that isn't yellow and isn't just bright white. It's just this perfect nice off-white colour, so I use that a lot. These dark shadows are incredible. Dark shadows are so hard to find nice ones of because they tend to be muddy or they don't blend well. But I mean, I've been using this black and this brown for the last 1.5 years and I absolutely love them, and I've barely made a dent, which is fantastic. And this like this peachy kind of colour and this pink one, they're perfect transition shades for my skin tone. I absolutely love them. I use them all the time. They're just really beautiful. I don't know if they have names. Oh, they have names because it's on the bottom and I always had this sitting flat on my dresser. They're pretty boring names, so unfortunately nothing fun. I don't know if you can get these shades in like their other eyeshadow palettes because they do have a few, but I think I've listed all that out in the blog post that I mentioned. I'm pretty sure I went through that in detail, so you can go check that out if you want to see all the names. I've taken this traveling with me before because I guess that's the idea of this palette, is that instead of taking all these different palettes and products and compacts, you've got one palette that pretty much has everything you need. I've used these eyebrow powders for eyeshadow a lot of times as well because they're really nice neutral tones. Perfect for crease work. The only thing that's missing from this, I think, is a blush. Obviously, I think I would have liked a blush in it. But yeah, I've taken this before where I only took this and plus like mascara, eyeliner, and a lip product, and then I used that for 3 to 4 days. And I could create so many different looks with just this palette that I wasn't left feeling like, oh, I wish I had this from home or something. Like I could use this in many different ways, whether it's like a nice soft daytime look or a dramatic nighttime, like because they've got these really deep colours here. It's really versatile and fantastic. So perfect for travel, although like I said, it is a little bit weighty, so that might annoy some people, but the case is very sturdy, so you don't have to worry about any of the powders cracking or getting damaged. Oh, and the brush, I haven't talked about the brush yet, so I'll just give you a closer look at it. It's a dual-ended brush, so on this end you've just got like a shadow brush. It's quite stiff and dense. I use this in my transition. It's okay, it's not the best. I think it's better for packing on colour because it is so dense, so you kind of need a blending brush to go with it. And I've never used this for contour, it's way too small I think. So you do need other brushes with this kit. The other end is a brow brush. It's a little bit thick. It's thicker than the other ones I use and a bit thicker than I prefer, but certainly fine. I use this for months on end with my brow. I've now switched to other brow things that I'm trying out. But a really nice brush. It's held up really well. I really like it. I have never used any of the other Smashbox brushes, so this was a cool way to try them out and see what they're like. I'd happily buy some more Smashbox brushes. And that's about all there is for me to say about it. So if you've considered buying it, definitely worth buying. I highly recommend it if you're looking at it. big thumbs up from me. Like I said, you can get it from Mecca here in Australia, or of course you can always get it online as well. If you have any questions, please just leave them in the comments below. And if you thought this video was great and helpful, give it a good old thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss future reviews and videos. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Let me take a moment just to appreciate this lip colour.